Hello, this is Richard Skipper, and I'd like to talk to you about a cause that's very dear to my heart, and that's Carol Channing receiving the 2011 Kennedy Center Honor. Now, for those of you who are friends and fans of Carol Channing, this is a no-brainer. But for those of you who are not familiar with Carol's career and her legacy, let me give you a little background on Carol Elaine Channing. First of all, she was born in Seattle, Washington. But when she was 2 weeks old, her father, George Channing, who was a well-known newspaperman and editor for the Christian Science Monitor and a lecturer for Christian Science, her and her parents moved down to the heart of San Francisco when she was just 2.5 weeks old. Something, as Carol later said, everyone should experience at 2.5 weeks old. Well, she went there, she grew up there, and she went to Commodore Sloat Elementary School, Lowell High School, and while she was growing up in San Francisco, her and her dear friend, Harry Collegian, they both developed a love for the arts, a love that continues to this very day. Well, Carol, when she was in junior high school, a classmate of hers by the name of Bobby Schmaltz felt that she should be the secretary of the student body, But she could not think of one reason why the other students should vote for Carol Channing. So she decided to get up on the stage and do impressions and impersonations of the other students and the teachers in the school. And it worked. Everyone fell in love with Carol Channing. She said she used to do 3 assemblies a day because of the size of the school, and that's when she fell in love with long runs, something that would stick with her for the rest of her career. Well, she got the job because the entire student body was laughing with her. They never laughed at her. She felt that she was in control. When she finished high school, she hot-footed it right up to Bennington College in Vermont. And while she was there, she became a drama dance major. Now, during their summer break, they had to come to New York and get a job in whatever it was that they were majoring in. So she comes to New York, and she went right to the very top. She went to the William Morris Agency. She knocked on the door of the president of the William Morris Agency, Mr. Abe Lasvogel, and she auditioned for him. Well, at first he thought she was a little eccentric, but little by little she began to warm him over. And he introduced her to Mark Blitzstein, and she got her first show in New York, No for an Answer, by Mark Blitzstein. That show lasted about 12 performances, and after that show, she went back to the West Coast, and she was lucky enough to meet Marge Champion, who introduced her to Gower Champion, and she ended up in her first big hit, Linda Neer. Well, Linda Neer comes to New York, and there she is, playing a gladiola girl in her cloche hat and her flapper dress. And one night, as fate would have it, who was sitting in the audience, but Julie Stein, who was the composer for Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, and the author of the original book, Anita Loos. And Anita Loos turned to Julie Stein, and she said, "That is our Lorelei Lee." And at that moment, history turned around. Carol Channing eventually got the role of Lorelei Lee. She opened in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, and she became the toast of Broadway. She was only the second actress to appear both on the covers of Time magazine and Life magazine at the very same time, the first being Tallulah Bankhead. They also share a birthday and became very dear friends. Well, in 1964, Carol created the most iconic role of her career, and that was Dolly Levi in Jerry Herman's Hello, Dolly. The show opened at the St. James Theater on January 16, 1964, and the rest is history. The show ended up winning 10 Tony Awards, including a Tony Award for Carol Channing. This would be the first of 3 Tony Awards. She went on to win a Lifetime Achievement Award and a special award for bringing artistry and the great work that she's done to the theater audiences around the country. In 1967, she went to Hollywood and she filmed the immortal role of Muzzy in Thoroughly Modern Millie, and she won an Academy Award and a Golden Globe Award nomination. She won the Golden Globe Award, and she was nominated for the Academy Award. She should have won the Academy Award. But that role has immortalized her forever in terms of film audiences. Well, over the last few years, Carol Channing and her husband, Harry Collegian, has set up the Dr. Carol Channing Harry Collegian Foundation for the Arts. And they believe that every kid in America should be exposed to an education in the arts. And if that isn't deserving of a Kennedy Center honor, what is? Please go to www.richardskipper.com and please sign the petition for Carol Channing to receive the 2011 Kennedy Center Honor.